Now let us get on with the front of the leg and also the dorsum of the foot in this video. So the superficial fascia and all that, it has many veins and also the cutaneous nerves. Read about them, they are not that important. Short saphenous and long saphenous veins, we'll discuss them under venous drainage of the lower limb. And when it comes to deep fascia, all of these septa are not that important. What is actually important is the superior extensor retinaculum and the inferior extensor retinaculum. It is easy to remember it in this way. Superior extensor retinaculum, it is attached to anterior border of both the lower ends of both the leg bones, that is tibia and fibula. So medially lower part of anterior border of tibia and laterally to the fibula. And then relations, what are there? It splits to enclose only the tibialis anterior, that's it. Other structures are deep to it. Okay, so this diagram is easy. And then inferior extensor retinaculum, it is Y-shaped. This point is important, and the attachments are easy to remember. The stem is attached to the calcaneum and to the anterior non-articular part, because if it is articular then it will have a bone, not the attachment of the retinaculum. So it is attached to anterior non-articular part of superior surface of calcaneum. Upper band passes upwards and medially, lower band passes downwards and medially. Upper one attaches to anterior border again of the medial malleolus, lower band attaches to plantar aponeurosis. And the relations, you can just read them from this diagram. It is easy. Remember it as 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, and the rest of them in the same order, they go like this. And a mnemonic to remember this is: the Himalayas are never plain, are never dry plains. Okay, so these are the structures. Clinical anatomy is the anterior tibial compartment syndrome, in which when there is too much exercise, muscles of the anterior compartment, they get pain. Okay, and the muscles are tender to touch. When we talk about the muscles of the anterior compartment of the leg, we mainly have 4 muscles. The 5th one falls under dorsum of the foot. So the 4 muscles are tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus, digitorum longus, and peroneus tertius. Is that clear? So these muscles are very easy to remember. Just remember that the medial surface of the tibia does not have any muscular attachment, and we have tibialis anterior. Just like the tibialis posterior, it lies in middle like this. Okay, so that means it takes origin from the lateral condyle of the tibia and also from most of the lateral surface. Okay, see upper 2/3 of lateral surface of the shaft of tibia, and also the interosseous membrane, because it lies in the middle. And remember, in the anterior compartment, all the muscle tendons, they cross. Okay, so as it is present on the lateral surface of the tibia, it goes medially onto the medial cuneiform and base of first metatarsal. And extensor hallucis longus and digitorum longus are even easier to remember. Only consider the fibula and also the adjoining interosseous membrane. In the fibula, consider the middle 2/4. So hallucis longus is only going to one toe. It doesn't need to be powerful. So it goes from posteriorly. So posterior 2/4 of the posterior half of the middle 2/4 of the shaft of fibula. Whereas extensor digitorum longus is extensive. Okay, so that means it needs the upper 1/4 and also the anterior half of the middle 2/4 of shaft of fibula. Okay, so and finally we have peroneus tertius, which takes origin from the lower 1/4 of shaft of fibula, medial surface, and also interosseous membrane. And when we talk about the insertions, obviously hallucis longus will go to the first toe. As it is long, it will go to the base of distal phalanx. And then we have digitorum longus. Digitorum longus, it means laterally. So it divides into 4 tendons which go laterally, and the tendons of 2nd, 3rd, 4th digits are joined on lateral side by tendons of extensor digitorum brevis to form dorsal distal expansion. It is inserted in the base of middle and distal phalanx. And we have peroneus tertius, which inserts onto the base of 5th metatarsal bone. Okay, and then coming to extensor digitorum brevis, which falls under dorsum of the foot, it arises from the superior surface of the calcaneum, and then it also divides into 4 tendons. As longus is going laterally, here brevis goes to the medial 4 toes. Okay, and then medial most part is known as extensor hallucis brevis, as it is going to the first toe. Brevis, so it only goes to the proximal phalanx, that too to the dorsal surface. Okay, and then all of them are supplied by deep peroneal nerve, and actions, they fall under the flexor compartment, so they are dorsiflexors of the foot. Tibialis anterior, it is also an inverter of the foot, so dorsiflexor, flex the dorsum, and inverter. Okay, and also all these extensor muscles, all of them fall under the extensor compartment, but these are dorsiflexors of the foot. And then they extend the metatarsophalangeal joint, and also this extends the interphalangeal joints, like that. And when we talk about the anterior tibial artery, this is the easiest artery to remember if you ask me. So it supplies the muscles in the anterior compartment of the leg. That is one point. What happens is it begins on the back of the leg, as it is a smaller terminal branch of the popliteal artery. So how does it enter the anterior compartment? So in the interosseous membrane there is a gap. So it enters the anterior compartment by passing close to the fibula through an opening in the upper part of the interosseous membrane, and then it runs vertically downwards to a point midway between both the malleoli. So you can see right here. Okay, it pierces and then just goes vertically downwards. And the relations are even easier to remember. In the upper part, it lies between tibialis anterior, extensor distorum longus. Middle part, tibialis anterior, extensor hallucis longus. And in the lower part, it lies between hallucis longus and digitorum longus. Okay, just remember that all of them are crossing, right? So extensor hallucis longus is taking origin from fibula, which is lateral. So it will go cross and it will go onto the medial side. Okay, onto the hallux. So it goes from lateral to medial, the muscle. And branches are easy. Muscular branches supply the muscles. Anastomotic branches, as it is going like this, it gives to the knee and also to the ankle. Anterior and posterior recurrent branches are also there. They take part in anastomosis around knee joint. Anterior medial malleolar and lateral malleolar branches also take part in anastomosis. We also have networks, lateral malleolar and medial malleolar network. And deep peroneal nerve is also very easy. It is the nerve of anterior compartment of the leg and dorsum of the foot, and it is the one of the two terminal branches of common peroneal nerve, root value L4, L5, S1, S2. So how does it begin? So the deep peroneal nerve, it begins on lateral side of neck of fibula. If you remember, I told you common peroneal nerve, it wraps around it, and any injury there, it causes sleeping foot. Sleeping foot. So it enters the anterior compartment by again piercing the anterior intermuscular septum, not the interosseous membrane, and it then pierces the extensor distorum longus. Remember just this point, that it pierces extensor distorum longus, and then the relations are same as anterior tibial artery. It lies between first these two muscles, and then last these two muscles. So then it divides into lateral terminal branch and medial terminal branch. Lateral one, it turns laterally and ends in a pseudoganglion deep to the extensor distorum brevis. Then the branches are same, muscular branches for all the four muscles. Extensor distorum brevis also is supplied by it, as the lateral branch ends in a pseudoganglion beneath it, and then a cutaneous branch and articular branches. And then foot drop. Sorry, I said sleeping foot, it is actually foot drop. And then finally we have dorsum of the foot. So in the dorsum of the foot, we have that one muscle, that is extensor distorum brevis, and also dorsalis pedis artery. So where does it begin? It is very easy to remember. So the anterior tibial artery has a very vertical course, downward course, right? So at the midpoint between both the malleoli, it passes forwards and reaches the proximal end of first intermetatarsal space. It goes medially, okay, and then it dips downwards and ends in the sole by completing the plantar arterial arch. So the superficial relations are skin, superficial fascia, inferior extensor retinaculum, and extensor hallucis brevis, which also crosses the from lateral to medial like the longus. And deep relations include the capsular ligament of the ankle joint and also the bones, that is talus, navicular, and intermediate cuneiform. Medially, we have the extensor hallucis longus, and laterally we have first tendon of digitorum longus. And the branches are the lateral tarsal artery and medial tarsal branches, arcuate artery, from which there are second, third, fourth dorsal metatarsal arteries. First dorsal metatarsal artery, it comes from the dorsalis pedis artery itself. That's it. Clinical anatomy. Pulsations of dorsalis pedis are felt in between the tendons of extensor hallucis longus and first tendon of extensor digitorum longus.